What if entire tribes existed that seem to defy the very laws of physics? Tribes so hidden, so unique, that their abilities leave experts speechless. In this incredible list of 9 tribes featured on the Joe Rogan Experience, we'll explore cultures that live beyond the limits of what we think is humanly possible. From ocean nomads with superhuman vision to forest people untouched by time, these communities hold secrets you won't believe. One tribe's home soar high above the ground, almost floating. How do they do it? You're about to find out. Korowai tribe. The Korowai tribe of Papua New Guinea remained completely isolated from the modern world until the 1970s, when they were first contacted by outsiders. Up to that point, they had no knowledge of the outside world, and the world had no idea they existed. The Korowai are especially known for their remarkable architectural skills, building towering stilt houses that can reach heights of up to 140 feet. These structures, made from banyan trees, sago palm bark, and sago leaves, are designed for protection against floods, wild animals, and rival clans. The tall homes are accessible only by wooden ladders, and their design is so advanced that some speculate this construction ability might even be ingrained in their DNA. Going back into history, the Korowai belief is one in which fatal illnesses and death are considered through the medium of evil spirits called kakua. This strong belief culminated in ritualistic cannibalism, with members of the Korowai slaying and eating people that they thought were possessed by those evil entities. Officially, the Korowai are the last known tribe to have practiced cannibalism, but they have since put this practice behind them. Interestingly, as reported on the Joe Rogan podcast, the Korowai appeared resilient to diseases normally seen in cannibalistic cultures. Scientists suspect either the rarity of cannibalism among the Korowai or their spiritual practices hampered the entry of outside pathogens. The Korowai are extremely territorial and skilled hunters, protecting their lands against all intruders. Their hunting tools are simple, often rudimentary bows and arrows, but these are used with great proficiency and efficiency. The tribe's suspicion of outsiders remains strong, as they often regard outsiders as carriers of evil spirits. Despite increasingly coming into contact with the outside world over the past few decades, many Korowai still endeavor to maintain their way of life, upholding their traditions, beliefs, and extraordinary architectural practice, which has made it possible for them to flourish in one of the most isolated places on Earth. Think underwater vision is wild? The next tribe built a whole village above the clouds. Moken people, the Moken people, often called the Sea Gypsies, are a nomadic tribe living off the coast of Thailand and Burma, having originally migrated from South China. With no permanent homeland, they dwell on boats called kabang or in island villages, living a life entirely centered around the sea. Their deep connection to the ocean has shaped not only their culture, but also their remarkable physical abilities. The Moken are expert free divers, able to hold their breath underwater for up to 4 minutes, a feat far beyond the 30 to 90 seconds of an average human. This unique skill is most evident in their children, who, from a young age, dive without any scuba gear, collecting seafood as part of their daily routine. Another mesmerizing aspect of the Moken tribe is that they are able to see underwater. The children dive for clams, shells, and sea cucumbers mostly all the time, so their vision underwater must be extremely sharp. Anna Gislin of Lund University visited the tribe in 1999 to study this phenomenon. She noted how, though everybody else seemed to have great difficulty seeing underwater, the Moken children were able to procure food, eyes wide open, from the ocean floor. The evidence of Gislin's research suggested that either their eyes had structurally adapted to the underwater environment or learned to use their eyes in a competitively different way to have this extraordinary vision. Fishing and beachcombing for shellfish conditions the Moken way of life, and interaction with outsiders is rare as they only trade their catch for necessities, such as rice and petrol. The Mokens often compete for food with mainland communities, which have historically discriminated against them. Nonetheless, they have successfully survived and have managed to pass on much of their culture and skills to the present day. Their particular combinations of natural gifts and cultural imperatives have come under the scrutiny of scientists and adventurers who wish to uncover the secrets of their extraordinary depth-diving ability. Acero Mudmen. The Acero Mudmen are an indigenous group from Papua New Guinea, famous for their eerie appearance and the fascinating story behind it. According to legend, centuries ago, the Acero people were attacked by a stronger neighboring tribe and fled into the nearby Acero River. When their attackers came upon them, they mistook the mud-covered figures emerging from the river for ghostly spirits and fled in terror. Realizing the power of this illusion, the Acero began coating their bodies in white clay to scare off enemies. Over time, they added frightening masks made from rocks, sticks, and clay to enhance the terrifying effect, since they believed the river mud was poisonous and avoided applying it to their faces. Unlike most tribal people of the region, who paint themselves bright colors or wear elaborate decorations for war, the Acero mudmen have a bare but haunting appearance that has long earned them a reputation for fierce defense. Their warriors smear grayish-white mud all over their bodies and wear oversized clay masks featuring grotesque designs. At times, they also have red-painted bamboo claws on their fingers. These, besides their eerie, ghostly movements, help them build up an image that scared away further assaults. The terrifying image of mudmen wasn't prepared for fighting, but a psychological warfare with which they might frighten possible assailants to retreat rather than summon them into battle. The Acero mudmen's unique customs survive today in ceremonial performances comprising their unusual costumes, masked dances, and symbolic movements. Their frightful appearance tends to enchant outsiders. For the Acero, on the other hand, it is a living testament to their strength, creativity, and survival. What started as a strategy for survival evolved into a major part of their cultural identity, a part now transmitted from generation to generation as both shelter and pride. Hadza tribe. The Hadza tribe is a group of hunter-gatherers who live between Tanzania's Lake Eyasi and the Great Rift Valley. With a population of around 1,300, they are considered one of the last original hunting tribes in Africa. The Hadza have a unique system of pursuing their hunt for honey in association with local birds. They whistle special calls to attract hunter-guide birds to lead them to beehives. Once they have located the beehive, they build a fire to smoke the bees and collect the honey, leaving wax and remnants to lure the birds. According to some people, the Hadza people have the most wonderful immune system, which works wonders against bee venom and even prepares the Hadza to face many such enemies. Other than this, it is their great knowledge of the environment and their ability to live sustainably within their environment that truly matches their resilience. The diet, besides meat and honey, consists of tubers, berries, and baobab fruits. The special relationship they share with nature and not being afraid at all plus impressive survival skills make them a hub of interest among scientists and explorers who want to know more about such ancient life ways that survive up to this day. Maori tribe. The Maori tribe, originally from East Polynesia, arrived in New Zealand between 1320 and 1350 through several waves of canoe voyages. Over centuries, they formed distinct groups such as the Iwi and Hapu, each with its own identity and traditions. Maori culture is deeply connected to the land and their ancestral spirits, with their distinctive costumes and body art reflecting this bond. They are renowned for their rich cultural expressions, from their language and music to their carving, tattooing, and weaving. Central to their warrior tradition is the haka, a powerful war dance performed with synchronized movements, vocal chants, and intense facial expressions. The haka serves as a symbol of unity, strength, and resilience, and is known worldwide as a unique expression of Maori identity. Indeed, the Maori people have acquired the fearsome reputation of being among the fiercest of warriors in the island expanse of the South Pacific. The combat culture and the code of warfare earned them an intimidating reputation, especially in contact with British colonizers. Men and women of the tribe usually adorn themselves with tattoos and markings that are meant for self-beautification and for the beautiful but destructive design purposes of intimidation. While training in the use of distinctive weapons and the fighting of techniques like the haka, warfight training begins at a tender age. With these skills mastered as adults become strong defenders of their people, having the warrior spirit that has made the tribe legendary and that lives on in them. Colonization and cultural assimilation had a direct bearing on preserving the Maori identity and traditions. Today, Maori culture sits firmly in the heart of New Zealand society with national celebrations, Maori sports events, and cultural festivities. The resilience and strength of the Maori give inspiration. Ceremonial practices from the haka to carving and weaving arts also serve as constant reminders of their relationship with their ancestors and the land they identify with. Keep your breath steady. The next tribe takes strength and courage to tower new heights. Maasai tribe. The Maasai tribe is one of the most famous and recognizable indigenous groups in Africa, known for their rich traditions, distinctive attire, and fearless warrior culture. They inhabit parts of northern, central, and southern Kenya as well as northern Tanzania. Historically, the Maasai have been renowned as brave hunters and skilled cattle herders, with cattle forming the core of their economy and social structure. Wealth among Maasai men is measured by the number of cattle, wives, and children they have, and the first wife traditionally holds the highest status within the family. Their entire way of life revolves around cattle, which provide them with milk, blood, and meat, central elements of their diet. The most interesting parts of Maasai culture are probably tied to the physical strength and height of the Maasai people, which has given them so much recognition in the rest of the world. The jumping dance is a traditional way of jumping where the Maasai warriors leap into the air without any assistance. This dance is part of ceremonial activity in which they show strength and their ability to prove their manhood. Together with their lean, tall bodies and their calcium-rich diet, many have perceived them as defying gravity. Traditional lion hunting was a rite of passage into manhood for a Maasai boy and demonstrated bravery and skill, but it was adopted by the Maasai Olympics in 2012, a sporting competition that exhibits traditional warrior skills such as running, spear throwing, and cattle herding, all of which are carried out in an environmentally friendly manner. They have had to, over time, go through several challenges, including displacement from their lands due to different national parks and the creation of wildlife reserves. The Maasai, however, still carry on with many of their traditions, adapting here and there yet preserving their identity. Their unique practices of blood mixed with milk and ceremonial drinking, to the striking red and beadwork branded on the body have attracted many outsiders. Still, in the real sense, the Maasai have a culture that oscillates between the past and the praxis of present-day reality. The remainder remains a true story of fortitude and pride among cultures. Pygmies are pygmies, a collective term for several forest-dwelling groups such as Mbuti, aka, and Baka, inhabit the dense Rhine forests of Central Africa, including regions of the Congo, Cameroon, and the Central African Republic. Despite the term pygmy being considered offensive in some context today, these groups have a rich history that stretches back thousands of years. Known for their small stature, with Mbuti rarely growing taller than 5 feet, they have adapted perfectly to their forest environment. Numbering between 130,000 and 170,000 across different groups, the pygmies are primarily hunter-gatherers, with a lifestyle that emphasizes harmony with nature, communal living, and remarkable physical strength despite their size. The pygmies are very skilled hunters who hunt by employing self-manufactured bows and spears with great acumen. Hunting, as well as collecting honey, tubers, fruits, and much more, forms a diet of these pygmies. Honey is the much more appreciated part of their diet, and to get it, some will even go above this height of more than 100 feet in the canopy. Accessing beehives is by climbing these heights. Honey is not picked up with bare hands, but instead, bees are subdued with smoke. This is a heightened experience and an assertion in their knowledge of the forest ecosystem. Visitors, mostly guests such as those mentioned in the Joe Rogan podcast, witness these forest people as really muscular, fit, and endowed with an active and self-sustained lifestyle. Besides their advantages, in the past and present-day pygmies have had to contend with enormous threats from neighboring communities. Notorious for being cannibalized, they became an easy target for tribes that were bent on flesh and blood hunting. It was through their self-defense tactics and becoming highly trained trackers and warriors to defend the family from that time on. Presently, when threats against them and their cultural traditions seem to multiply, their persecution and displacement from traditional lands, and by continued logging, hunting, as well as farming in the forest does say something about the survival of pygmies. Their continued survival and culture symbolize an unparalleled strength in human history. Dogon tribe, the Dogon tribe, native to the Bandiagra escarpment in Mali, is renowned for its unique way of life high above the plains. Over 1,000 years ago, the Dogon people fled to this remote, defensible location to escape forced conversion and violence from invading groups. Their villages are built into the cliffside of the Bandiagra escarpment, a sandstone formation rising about 1,600 feet, providing both safety and access to vital resources such as water from the nearby Niger River. This dramatic setting not only offered protection but also allowed the Dogon to develop and preserve their rich cultural and spiritual traditions largely undisturbed. On the other hand, the Dogon community is known for proclaiming having profound scientific awareness of complicated belief systems. The Dogon did indeed enter the world into the 20th century, having had little other contact with modernity, and yet they have such mind-boggling and intricate knowledge about astronomy, anatomy, and pharmacology. The French anthropologists Marcel Griaule and Germaine Dieterlen were the anthropologists who collaborated with the Dogon during the 1930s and 1940s, during which time they studied the modern calendar system and symbolic language of thousands of signs. Likewise, the Dogon have twin reverence, believing they are embodiments of divine beings and symbols of cosmic harmony in a myth where all life once existed in pays. In terms of culture, the Dogon have masked dances, wood carvings, and cliff dwellings, all of which represent their spiritual beliefs as well as their identity as a community. Only men participate in the sacred ceremonies of the masks, which are exhibited in conjunction with the ancestral rites and important events in the life of the community. Despite more than 500 years of persecution and the continuous threats of dominating religions, the Dogon have managed to maintain their traditions, making them one of the most studied and admired secluded tribes of Africa. Get ready for our top pick. It will leave you wondering how such a tradition ever began. Skeleton Tribe. The Skeleton Tribe, native to the Simbu province of Papua New Guinea, is famous for its striking body art and the fascinating legend that inspired it. Around 200 years ago, a group of hunters from this community mysteriously disappeared while hunting in the mountains. When a search party set out to find them, they stumbled upon a cave filled with skeletons and encountered a fearsome monster. To survive, the warriors cleverly painted their bodies with black and white clay to resemble the fallen hunter skeletons. Their eerie appearance helped them deceive the creature long enough to escape. This ingenious strategy marked the beginning of their tradition of skeleton body paint, which has since become a powerful symbol of their identity and resilience. And besides a conspicuous body paint, there is so much happening that has been passed down from generational lines within the culture and life of the Skeleton Tribe. The face paint are not for glamour, but rather for psychological warfare, scaring enemies and warding off threats. With black and white clays, warriors paint intricate designs on their bodies that give the appearance of human skeletons, an image of horror that is impossible to forget. But in addition to body art, these traditions also encompass dancing in splendid colors, drumming in great rhythm, and singing songs that recount their history and spiritual beliefs. Such practices foster their feeling of togetherness and connection to their ancestors. The uniqueness and appearance and rituals of the Skeleton Tribe makes them one of the most visually extraordinary and culturally compelling groups in Papua New Guinea. The eerie look attracts the attention of outsiders, yet for the tribe, it serves as a constant reminder of the courage and ingenuity of their ancestors. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into the world's most fascinating tribes, don't forget to like, comment with your thoughts, and subscribe.